question, please type it in because you're in a listen mode only at this point, and we will answer the questions after the event is over with. The recording, well, we are recording this and it will be available on the Sonnhalter.com website in about a week, and you will be receiving a copy of the PowerPoint in a follow-up email after this presentation. So let's get started. So what is a blog? Well, blog is a term that the internet came up with. It's short for a weblog. The websites that you have now are basically passive. They're kind of a showroom or display window that tells people about what your organization is and what you have to offer, but it's basically a one-way conversation. A blog is different. Blogs are part of the social network. They are websites that allow individuals and groups to share opinions and information in longer form in a regular basis. It helps you engage folks. And it's considered owned media. Owned media means that you create the content which you own. And in this particular case, blogs are basically all content, and that's what people come to your blog for, because of your content. So key questions though you need to ask yourself before you start a blog. Who's your audience? Who do you want to go after? Are they engineers? Are they the design people? Are they the maintenance folks? Are they sales and marketing? Is it the C-suite? You need to determine what your audience is, who the audience is. You also have to figure out who's competing for that audience attention. Is it other blogs? Is it magazines? Is it forums? Who are you competing with, and when are you competing with them for their time and attention? What do you want your blog to focus on? Some people make a mistake by trying to be a very generalistic blog. You cannot be a blog that talks about the construction industry in general. It has to, you should, if you're going to be in the construction industry, it should be about tips for excavating, tips for electrical contractors. The more narrow you can make your subject matter, the better off it's going to be, and it'll be easier for folks to find you. Once you get your blog focused, what are your goals? Do you want to have a blog just because everybody else has a blog? Don't do that. You have to set goals. Do you want to drive more people to your website? Do you want to generate so many interactions with folks? Do you want to generate so many leads? Figure out what you want to do ahead of time. That way, you can measure those goals, which are going to be very, very, very important in the long run. There's 5 goals in content marketing that you need to consider, please. You need to catch attention. This is so important, and if you can relate this to an email, everybody gets tons and tons of emails, and everybody, if I don't know who it's from, even if I do know who it's from, I look at the subject line, and if the subject line doesn't grab my attention, I may not read it and blow it away. So the subject line is very important to catch attention. The idea behind a blog is, again, to start to interact with people as opposed to talk at them. You want to talk with them. So you want to grow engagement. That's the whole objective of a blog. So once you get their attention, you want them to read what you have to say, and then you want them to react in some manner. You want to create conversations, and not necessarily physical conversations over the phone, although if you start to interact and people go back and forth with emails, it's very important that a lot of times these conversations go offline, and you can help people with a problem, send them to a distributor or a tech person. But again, it creates conversations. Most of our manufacturers are in longer buying cycles, so it helps shorten the buying cycles because these potential customers are getting their answers to general questions, general product reviews, product comparisons with other folks on the web, so that when they come time to buy, they've already pre-qualified themselves. And you need to produce some visible opportunities to these folks. It's very important. So why start a blog? I've been blogging for 2.5 years for the agency. I have over 550 posts. Our objective was to become an industry leader in our market segment, and we gauged that over the course of the years by the increased number of inquiries coming in to our website, the increased number of new clients that we can directly attribute to the blog. And it's ironic, today our blog generates more page views than our website. It can be the hub of your marketing plan, but certainly if you're not going to incorporate your blog and integrate it into your existing marketing plan, it's a big mistake. You need to integrate it. Let's talk about some of the pros of starting a blog. Again, one of the major thought leaders is a major objective of any company. You want to be known as an expert, the go-to guy in your field. And again, the more narrow the field that you can come up with, the better and easier it's going to be for you to be that go-to guy. You need to share your professional knowledge. Again, we've been taught as typical marketers that we hide that and we covet it, and until somebody becomes a customer, we don't give that stuff away. In social media, you need to share your knowledge, and you need to share it with a personality. This is not a dry sales pitch. This is not a dry tech thing. We need to talk and share professional knowledge in a conversational tone. It creates a central hub for all your social media efforts, and Rachel will go over this in a little bit. But again, I said we had 550 posts on our site. It's a receptacle. It's a library. So if people want to go and read about a subject, if it's one of our silos, they can go and read several different articles on several different subjects. Again, we start to build relationships with the traditional marketing. You can control the message. You can control who it goes to. With social, you can control the message. We can't control who it goes to because of between the keywords and the meta tags that are out there, the people who are looking for that type of information will find you. And in order for them to identify themselves, you need to give them good, solid content. And it can also be used to support other marketing initiatives. As I said before, a blog is not a stand-alone part of. It's got to be part of a marketing effort. It can be incorporated with other social. It can be incorporated with other traditional things that you do to let people know that there's a go-to source out there for that kind of information. And the internet makes all corporations or all organizations on the same playing field, whether you're a one-man shop or whether you're a multi-billion-dollar company. The size of the organization does not matter. It's the quality of the blog content, the responsiveness. And I've always said to clients, especially the smaller ones, that they really have a good advantage over some of the bigger corporations because they can react quicker and get the information back to a potential customer quicker than a lot of the bigger corporations who have to go through several layers sometimes of approval processes. Some of the cons of starting a blog: they are time-consuming. There's no doubt about that. Depending on how many you do, it could take you anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, 2 hours a day to do some of these things. I will tell you though that as you do more of them and you get used to them, they become easier with time. You need to do research. You need to obviously write them. You need to promote them. You need to respond to the comments, because again, without responding to them, you won't be able to get any kind of engagement. And the key to a blog to be successful, it has to be consistent. You have to be a consistent presence in the marketplace. You can't do a blog every 3 or 4 weeks. A blog post. People won't get used to looking to you for your Tuesday treats or your Friday summaries or whatever. So you need to do those. Is blogging right for you? Ask the right questions. Well, what do you ask? Who will be responsible? That's going to be a key. You need a gatekeeper who can control the voice and the tone of a blog. That gatekeeper by no means has to be the only one that contributes to the blog, but we need to have someone who's going to be responsible. Do you have time to blog? Again, you need to allocate time, and don't be so proactive that you think you can do 2 or 3 posts a week. Start off slow, and as you get into it and you feel more comfortable, then you can move up and do more frequency. Key is too, can you repurpose the existing content into your blog post? Again, if most of you folks are manufacturers, or distributors, you probably have a lot of technical literature, white papers, training videos, a myriad of other marketing materials and information materials that the potential customer would find useful, that you can start with as far as starting to develop content. As I said before, how many posts can you do and commit to writing per week? Again, start off slow and increase those as you feel more comfortable. And make sure you have something interesting to write about. If you're not excited about it, you sure can't get other people excited about it as well. Be creative. And what resources do you have available? Again, just because you're going to be the gatekeeper, I would suggest that if you think about doing a blog, talk to your sales department, talk to your customer service department, talk to engineering, talk to several other departments, your product managers within your company. They probably will be able to give you 5 to 10 key issues that they answer questions to all the time, and those certainly should be good material for you to start blogging about. I'm going to turn over to Rachel now, and she's going to talk about other things that are involved in blogging. Rachel?
Good afternoon. Thank you. Once you start to decide that a blog is the right choice for you and your organization, you need to know what's involved in getting started, and that does include that last bullet point there, the getting involved in other social media, which we will touch on a little bit later. So when you ask what's involved, the first thing that you'll need to be able to do is establish the number of posts. It may sound like we're kind of harping on the idea of posting the same number every week, and that schedule is very important to your readers, because if you post every Tuesday, people will come back every Tuesday to see what you've written about. Even if it's 1 post a week, doing that on a consistent schedule shows your audience that you're there and that you have something to say that can help them out on a regular basis. Starting a blog can be difficult, so you also need to work at establishing your credibility. We recommend that our clients have 30 to 50 posts already written before they launch their blog. This is supported through HubSpot user research. They found that a blog needs to reach this critical mass of articles before they actually start generating leads, and the number range that they found was the 20 to 50 posts. Having that number of posts on your blog once you officially launch it, tells your readers that you know what you're talking about. If you only have one post, they're not going to believe that you know exactly what you're talking about because you've only written one post. But once you have that queue of 30 to 50 posts available for them to click through and to read about, it helps them understand that you know what you're talking about, and it helps establish you as an industry leader. When you have those posts on your blog, you should link between them. When you talk about a topic, you can link back to another post that you've written that's related in some manner to prove that you do have the expertise in that area and to help your reader find the information that they're looking for. So you've decided to start a blog, and you'll want to know what you're going to write about. We asked if you had something interesting to write about. You'll want to select the topics and the category silos where you have the most expertise. John described a blog as a library of articles, and these categories are a lot like your card catalog. They tell your reader what you're talking about and where they can find them. If you take a look over here at the categories area, you can see this is from our own blog, and when someone comes to our blog and wants to read our marketing tips, they're all right there. They can read any of those 309 articles or all of them if they want, and they can see that we have those tips to give as well as the other categories there. You also want to make sure that you include keywords and links inside your post. This is the back side of the internet that helps you get found. If you take a look to the right over here at the tags, we took these from a client of ours, Speaking of Precision. This is PMPA's blog, and you can see these are the things that they write about. And you can, if you look at them, you'll see words like aluminum, manufacturing, OSHA. These are their topics that they write about that people might be looking for information on and may not necessarily know where to go. So if someone types into Google, for instance, aluminum, chances are they'd be able to find a blog post that would be tagged that way. Before you get started, after you pick all those category silos and those topics, you'll want to look at an editorial calendar. Publications run on an editorial calendar. Each year they map out what they're going to write about in each issue. The basic topics of, for instance, on our blog, it would be marketing tips. It helps you keep on schedule and make sure that you're writing about those areas fairly evenly or with the importance that you choose to place upon them. These schedules can be loose, but they can help give you guidance so that when you sit down to write, you don't go, I have no idea what I want to write about today. Some of the things that you can use to guide your editorial calendar can include your company events and milestones, various industry events like trade shows, conferences. Holidays and seasons can even help guide your content timing. But one important thing to keep in mind, especially with blogs, is that your calendar does need to be flexible. If you set your calendar every year to write about each topic during a different time of the year, sometimes things will come up that are important in your industry that deserve some attention over something else. And you can always push your topics back to fit those things in, but that structure can help you stay on track with your blog. When you sit down to write your posts, you need to make sure that they're conversational. The goal of your blog is to create holy smokes type of content, so that when someone reads what you've written, they go, holy smokes, it makes sense, they can relate to it, and it gives them what they're looking for. So how do you write a conversational post? You adopt a storytelling style for your blog post. It's not a term paper, it's not technical material, it can provide information, but remember that you're a human writing it for other humans, so you can adopt this storytelling style to help your readers be able to gather the information that they want. You also want to avoid the salesy language and overwhelming jargon. That really leads into a conversational post if you leave the sales language out. You may be trying to sell something, but if someone comes to your blog and consistently feels like you're trying to sell them, they're not going to keep coming back to find information. Using internal and external links really goes to establish your credibility as well as conversational. You can use other information that you found places as inspiration, and you can write about it. And like I mentioned before, you can also use those internal links to further establish your credibility by saying, hey, you're reading this about a marketing tip. We also wrote about a similar issue a month ago in this blog. Here's a link. These links can help your readers understand where you're getting your information and how deep your knowledge on the topic really is. Make sure that your posts are easy to read. Helping with this, you can incorporate lists, bullets, numbers, images, and even audio and video. You have so many opportunities in blogging to be interesting and easy to read, but you don't just have to be words on a page. Most of your readers will actually just scan your blog post to decide if it's worth their time to read it. And by incorporating those lists and bullets, it helps them see the information clearly and decide if they want to go back and read every single word you wrote, or if they want to summarize the information in their head and move on. Also, make your posts easy to share. If I read something interesting and I can just click a button to email it to someone or to share it through social media, it's so much easier and more likely to be shared. I don't want to have to copy and paste a link, open up another program or website to be able to share the content. I want to be able to just share it straight from where it is. So making sure that you have those tools installed on your blog, it's very easy, and it's also helpful to spread the word and get your blog read by more people. So when you start blogging and you're the gatekeeper, you need to make sure that you've recruited help. You can't do it alone easily. You'll need to find people as you go through your blog to write guest posts and to agree to do interviews. These people can help keep your content fresh and give a little bit of a different voice to your blogs. You can find these people everywhere. You can look in other departments of your company. You can find various specialists within the industry. You can find other industry experts that are outside of your company. Or you can even take a look at the people that interact with you in your comments and see who's added value and see if they would like to contribute something to your blog. You also want to enlist a proofreader. When we write things, we read them back the way that we intended to write them and not necessarily the way that they appear. So having another set of eyes on everything that you write, even if one other person just reads it through, they can tell you if you've misspelled something, left something out, or missing words, or punctuation, and it makes your content look much more professional and complete, and that goes more to your credibility as well. One of the great things about being a blogger is you can gain content and inspiration from anywhere. To be an excellent blogger, you have to read blogs, you have to read publications, and you have to read other information out there too. One of the ways that we keep organized is we actually use Google Reader, and we keep all of the industry blogs and other RSS feeds that we follow in Google Reader, and it's one place where you can read the content and find inspiration for writing and learn from that. When you have those sources of content and inspiration, share them. You can, if you read an article that's excellent, you can share the link to it, but blog about your opinion on your own blog. I read this great article about topic X, and here are my thoughts on it. And that's one great way to put together a post that's easy to read and gives your readers a lot of information at one time. You'll also need to use social tools to help you manage and repurpose your content, and sometimes that means that someone else has to help you out. Using tools to get your content out there doesn't just have to happen on the day that you post your blogs. We're going to talk about promoting your blog a little bit later and a little bit more on the tools that we use. So let's take a look at some examples. This is one of our blog posts, and as you can see, this is a post about a podcast, and we're going to go through some of the information on this page itself and show you how we incorporate some of the things that we're recommending you use. For instance, this is a podcast. This is a blog post that incorporates audio. That's different than just sitting and reading words on a page. You get to hear voices, you get to hear inflection, and you get to hear thoughts. This is a source. Rich doesn't work at our company, but he has a depth of knowledge and a lot of important information that our readers can value. So we interviewed him. If you take a look at the short bit of the post, you can tell that it's very conversational. It's talking to the reader as if you're face-to-face with them, discussing and introducing them to our friend Rich. And if you look down here at the bottom, there's this share this area with all these fancy buttons that make it absolutely simple to share it wherever I want to. If I want to share the post on Facebook, I can do it right there with a click. And it doesn't take me away from the blog. I can share it on Twitter too if I really want to, or I could even print it and file it away for later use. Another important feature that I didn't highlight on this page, but that you should know about, is this search box. If your blog incorporates one of these, which is really easy to add, it makes your content more searchable for your readers. So if someone comes to Tradesman Insights from a web search and they haven't read any of our other content, they may want to see what other information we've gotten, or they may want to see what other podcasts we've done. That search tool is the easiest way for them to get around, and we highly recommend having it. Let's take a look at PNPA's blog, where they've incorporated some more of these recommendations that we make. They've incorporated a picture, and this picture is actually an infographic that can give a lot of information to your readers very easily, very visually, and you can learn a lot in just a couple seconds without having to read word for word and line by line of the blog post. This post also incorporates a link to an outside source where Miles gathered information, and he's sharing it with his readers if they want to read more. This is an excellent way to say, hey, I read this here, check it out, you can get more information, but here are some of my thoughts. And he also incorporates video. If you take a look at this particular video, it's 44 seconds, and it takes place at a trade show. This is Miles face-to-face with you right in the middle of the action. You get to meet him, you get to hear his voice, you get to see what PNPA is doing, as well as hear his thoughts instead of reading them on the blog post. This is one great way to shake up your content a little bit more and talk to your audience. Not all videos have to be you talking to the camera or right in the middle of the action, but these are some of the best short little snippets of adding personality to your blog and helping your readers get to know you better. So you've decided to start blogging, and you don't really know how to get your blog on the internet. You'll need to choose a blogging platform, and there are so many of them out there to choose from that we thought we'd give a few recommendations to tell you what is out there. There are several free and paid hosting options, and some of the ones that we've pulled together for you are WordPress.com, Blogger, and Tumblr. Some of the pros of these free options include that they are simple templates, simple themes, and easy widgets that make it easy to get your content on your blog, on the internet, the way you want it to look without needing a whole lot of technical know-how. One of the drawbacks is, though, that these hosting sites are allowed to place advertisements on your blog. So if you want to gain the control over advertisements, they're not the best option for you. You will, however, want to consider owning your own domain. You can use your own domain, for instance, tradesmaninsights.com. You can use that on a free platform. Domain ownership isn't free, but it is inexpensive, and it's something that helps give you a leg up in the credibility department as well. Some of the paid options out there for you are WordPress.org, Blogger has a paid option, and then there's Typepad. These increase your flexibility for your design, and they allow you to have various plugins or even write some of your own. They do require a little bit more of technical knowledge or someone to help you out who knows how to do the programming and the widgets. But you gain your advertisement control, so if you don't want to have advertisements on your blog at all, you can do that, or if you want to allow certain people to advertise, you can. But of course, because it's a paid option and you don't have the advertisements there, the hosting site requires you, the tools require you to have your own blog host so that your content is stored somewhere. So you need to name your blog, you need to pick your URL, and get it all up there on the internet. When selecting your blog name, you want to name it something easily recognizable and related to your industry. It kind of makes sense to go read a blog that's titled something related to the market that you're reading about. If it's named something completely different, it doesn't seem like it really fits. You'll want to register a domain if you want it to be yourblogname.com. Even with free hosting, you might want to register your name. Otherwise, they tend to show up like this one, yourblogname.wordpress.com. It's functional, but not necessarily the easiest way to look independent. In order to identify that your URL is available before you put it on anything, you'll want to make sure that you can own that domain. You can easily and quickly check for free at places like whois.com or checkdomain.com. If you want to take a look at some blog names and get an idea of what we're talking about, here are some good examples. We'll go through a few of them here. PMPA's blog is called Speaking of Precision. They serve the precision machine industry, and if you look at the blog, it's very easy to see the name and remember it so that when you want to go back to it, all you have to do is type it in. Our blog is titled Tradesman Insights. It's not Sonnhalter's blog. It's very easy to remember the name, but it talks about the industries that we serve. It tells you who we're talking about, who we market to, and it's also short, concise, and easy to remember. Molex has a blog as well, and Molex makes electrical connectors, and if you take a look at this, their blog name is Connector. It's kind of a play on words. It's the place where you can connect with the connector experts. Very easy to remember, very easy to find, and you have an idea of what they're talking about before you read anything else. And then finally, this other example, it's not a company blog. It's a blog about everything manufactured in Dayton, Ohio. It's very easy to remember, again, and it tells you what they're talking about. So choosing a blog name and a URL is important to be memorable, concise, but industry related. Once you've started blogging, you want to keep track of your metrics to see how you're doing and measure those goals that you've set. Metric information for your blog can show you a lot of different things. For instance, it can show you how people are getting to your blog, including the search engine terms that they use. This is important information for continuing to blog effectively and share your posts effectively. If you take a look, you can see what search engines people are coming from, but what they're looking for as well. So if people are looking for a certain term that you write about, you can make sure to increase the tagging with that exact term when you write about it in the future. But you can also evaluate the effectiveness of your social sharing by seeing if people are coming from Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook when you are promoting your blogs there. And you can also find if people might be using you as a source of information and content to share on their own blogs. It can help you find other industry-related things to read, whether they're blogs, whether they're other articles or forums or anything like that. You can find where people are talking about you and linking back to you there as well. Metrics will also tell you which of your posts and which of your topics are the most popular. So if you're writing about a certain topic and everyone seems to be reading it, it can tell you where you're exerting the most influence. Conversely, if you're writing about a topic and you don't have any views on that particular post, you may want to reevaluate your content plan. Metrics also help you know where your audience is located. This is specifically important for international companies who are trying to reach certain markets, but can also give you an idea of where these potential customers are located and where you're reaching. And also, these metrics will tell you where your readers are going next. If they're clicking a link on your blog site, it tells you. You can find out if people are trying to get more information about your company by visiting your website, whether they're signing up for your email newsletter, or whether they're going to the other articles that you've linked to and trying to continue reading about a topic. So once you've started blogging, you have your 30 to 50 posts, you need to make sure that you're promoting your blog. Blogs are social media, and so they're most effectively promoted on other forms of social media. Every day when we post a new blog, we go straight to LinkedIn, we post it to LinkedIn, we post it to LinkedIn groups, Facebook, and Twitter. But that's not the end of it. If you post your blog on Tuesday, your content isn't only relevant on Tuesday. You can continue to share relevant content through more automated tools that keep promoting your blog posts even after they've already been on your blog for a while. We use Social Oomph to automate some of our post sharing on Twitter to let people know that this content is still here, it's relevant, and it helps others who haven't yet read Tradesman Insights get there. Hootsuite also provides a tool for the sharing of consistent content, even scheduling it to be posted in the middle of the night if you're trying to reach someone in another time zone. Now I'm going to turn it back over to John.
Thanks, Rachel. Some suggested readings if you're still on the fence. There are two books that I've got up here, and again in the PowerPoint deck that you'll get after this, there'll be links. But there's two books: Managing Content, Content Marketing, and Content Rules. Managing Content Marketing really focuses on you understanding you and what and how you have to put content out, and also the them as to what your audience wants. The content rules is, again, another easy read. I read it on a plane ride to the West Coast here a few weeks ago. Very easy read, but it tells you how to create a blog, a podcast, a video, and get the most out of these elements. And it shows you real-life examples and what to do and what not to do. So this ends the presentation. I will have a couple minutes for questions. If you want more information, again, my email address, as is Rachel's, is at the bottom of the screen, and we do have time for a couple questions. One question: if you start blogging, would you recommend one platform over the other? I'd say probably not. I would say probably look at one of the free platforms to start with. You can always go into a paid platform later. We've been blogging for 2.5 years, and I've had no issues with WordPress putting the advertisements on the bottom of our pages. Let's see here, another question. Another question is, should all the writing be done inside, or should we have some done on the outside? That's going to depend upon you and your workload, but I would suggest that up front that you try to control the content internally. Again, not necessarily you, but for you and part of your other team members, whether it be sales, engineering, product development, customer service, to get the answers and the post out. There are services down the road that we can do that will help you out. Let's see here, one more question. Question is it a good idea to host a blog on a company website? I would say it's not a good idea. It's nice to have a link off of your website, but a blog should be a standalone website. Let's see here, one more question. How long will it take us to get to do 20 to 50 posts? I guess that depends on how many people are writing them and how much time you put into it. I would say that on an average, it takes somewhere between 4 to 8 weeks to get a blog up and ready to roll graphics and enough posts so that it looks like you're legit. If anyone needs help or would like some more information, we do offer a 60-day startup blogging program, and if you want more information about that, again, you can write or email myself or Rachel, and we'll get back to you. I think that's all the questions. Thank you very much for your time today, and hopefully you've learned something about blogging. Have a great day.